Give the call to the member for Grey.
Speaker, I rise today to address the consumer protection measures laid out by the government. At the outset, I want to acknowledge that much of what is contained in this agenda is frankly the right thing to do. Whether it's banning unfair trading practices, ending the cynical trap of dodgy subscriptions, or finally cracking down on the sneaky practice of shrinkflation, these are common sense wins. Speaker, common sense, not something you typically associate with Labor, Greens and the Teals. However, Speaker, it is one thing to tinker with the fine print in a comfortable Canberra office. It is quite another to provide regional customers with anything like the same level of protections as those in the cities. While the government pats itself on the back for protecting the suburban shopper, they are presiding over a systematic failure of consumer protections for regional Australians, who are paying for services they simply do not receive. Let's talk about telecommunications. Labor talk about strengthening consumer guarantees, yet they have overseen the most botched consumer transition in our history, the 3G shutdown. The minister promised equivalent coverage. I invite the minister to come to Atulta, come to Tarkawi and tell them that the silence on their phones is equivalent. Because the 4G rollout wasn't finished before the 3G rollout, because the 4G rollout wasn't finished before the 3G plug was pulled. Families are forking out thousands for Starlink, for expensive boosters, just to get the basic signal they used to have for free. Where is the consumer protection for them? In Tarkawi, this isn't just an inconvenience, it's a threat to life. In 2004, 3 residents died while alone. In those instances, limited reception was a major concern for emergency response. Now, this doesn't sound like consumer protection. If a supermarket drip feeds a $2 fee or Netflix increases their costs, this government pounces. But when a telco takes money from a farmer and leaves them unable to make calls to an ambulance, the government looks the other way and has nothing to say. This brings me to the second half of this crisis, the total failure of our regional power grid. While the state and federal government obsess over a reckless push towards net zero, the basics of grid stability in South Australia has been left to rot. In the Yorke Peninsula and the mid-north, we aren't just worried about unfair trading practices, we are worried about the lights staying on. Earlier this year, the wholesale electricity price in SA spiked to over $20,000 per megawatt hour. That is the highest spot price ever recorded. Last week, I was with Senator Karen Little at Simac mining operations near Whyalla. This is where the hematite and the magnetite is coming from to feed the steelworks. At full noise, this mine consumes 50 megawatt hours. At over $20,000 per hour, that is $1 million an hour, removing any chance they have of making any money that month. And so Simac employs engineers to predict the weather. And hence, they shut down the operations when there is no wind and no solar in the grid. That is the reality of a wind and solar-only grid. Intermittent renewables cannot be compared with baseload energy supply. Speaker, my constituents are paying premium prices for a third world service. We are seeing constant outages caused by insulator pollution, dust and salt build-up on the lines because of a lack of maintenance. Last month, I was in Milnerton to hear concerns of Yorke Peninsula locals. I can tell you the emotions were high. People are fed up. They are tired of paying for something that keeps on failing them. While some of these are state and supplier issues, the federal government needs to look at strengthening the consumer protections for power outages. Think of Lisa Martin, who runs the Milnerton Bakery. She lost $5,000 in a single day just in trade because of dump stock. Or Terry Teal in Edithburgh, who lost her home to a power network fault fire in 2019 and now has to watch the lights flicker again. These small businesses are customers too. They pay their bills, they suffer the loss of food, loss of stock and the threat of fire flashovers. The SA Power Networks Task Force says it may take several years to fix these hotspots. I asked the minister, if Harvey Norman sold a consumer a fridge that only worked half of the time and spoiled their food, would you protect them? Would they get a refund? While That'll do, Speaker. I'm not going to get the next sentence in. Thanks.
Thank you. The time allotted for this debate has expired. The debate is adjourned and the resumption of the debate will be made in order of the day for the next